Something that I have not directly addressed on my channel yet is my vegan lifestyle. It's kind of funny that I haven't because it is such a big part of my life. Our entire family is vegan, all 7 of us. When I became a holistic health practitioner, one of the things that I did most for people was help them transition into a healthy, sustainable vegan lifestyle. And I also was a cook. I would go to their homes and I would cook healthy vegan food for them to help them transition and teach them how to cook these foods for themselves. So this is something that has been a big part of my life for around 12 years now, through all of my pregnancies. It infiltrates all parts of your life, which is why I call it a lifestyle and not a diet, because diets kind of make you think of something that is short-term, something that you do to gain a certain result. I went on a diet to lose 20 pounds or to get my heart healthy or my cholesterol down or something like that. But veganism is so much more than that. It is something that is not only what you eat, but how you view food, how you view clothing and the environment. And so it's so much more than just what you put in your body. So to be honest with you, the reason why I am now addressing veganism is because it is prompted by a few larger YouTube channels who have been vegan, and I've watched them do this vegan diet that has been non-sustainable. And now they're denouncing veganism because they didn't feel good physically. And not to sound cocky or pompous or anything, I could see that happening from the start when they went vegan because of the ways that they were going about it and the ways that they were making it a non-sustainable lifestyle because of their lack of knowledge or overly romanticizing the lifestyle as a whole. I'm glad that now I have the desire to speak about my past in trying to help people transition into a sustainable vegan lifestyle and talk about the 5 main mistakes that I have seen people make that derail them from a healthy, sustainable vegan lifestyle. I really feel like these 5 mistakes are so common, and I see them across all of the ex-vegans, and they're very easily fixed. And so I want to just bring your attention to them if you are thinking about transitioning into a vegan lifestyle, or you're currently vegan and maybe not feeling optimal. I bet you one of these 5 things is what is slipping you up. So I'm just going to talk briefly about them. I will make more videos in the future going into greater depth into each one of these. Again, maybe just bringing a little bit of attention to them might spark something in you to think, oh my gosh, I may not be giving this area as much attention as it needs, and it could really make a huge difference in your overall health. So I do want to tell you, I don't want to miss any of these points, and I do want to make this kind of pithy so that we can talk about this later on. So I do have notes here, so if I'm looking down at them, I'm sorry, but I want to make sure that I hit on all of these really briefly. First of all, not eating enough. Very, very common. A lot of people think that when you go vegan that you just eat fruits and vegetables and you have them 3 times a day like the normal standard American diet and you're good. Well, no, you're not. A lot of vegans actually graze throughout the day. They don't just eat 3 meals. They eat lots of smaller meals, and it helps with the distribution of nutrients, and fiber tends to go through us faster, and there's just a bunch of different factors that will make us hungrier more often. And that's just part of being vegan. Now, there are a lot of new studies that have recently come out saying that plant-based protein tends to keep you feeling more sustained, less hungry throughout the day than meat protein. I can say that yes, I have found that to be true. However, I incorporate protein into my diet along with a bunch of leafy greens and fruits and vegetables of all sorts. So I do tend to get hungrier more often than just 3 meals a day. I think a lot of vegans have that, but everybody's different. It's about listening to your body and saying, okay, I'm hungry 2 hours after I ate. Maybe I should start incorporating a little bit more protein into a meal or more fats, and that will help sustain me longer. Or maybe you enjoy grazing throughout the day. So, having lots of small little meals is what works best for you. So it's about listening to your body and adjusting your meal based on what you need and your lifestyle, but still making sure that you're getting enough food. A lot of people don't eat enough. Veganism is a whole different way of thinking. It's not cutting back on food, it is changing the kind of foods that you eat, which a lot of time means that you have to eat more. So going on juice cleanses or fasting or just eating a whole bunch of fruit all day is not going to work for you because you're not going to be able to get in enough nutrients, enough calories, enough vitamins to sustain your body. That leads into number 2, which is not eating enough variety. Variety is so important on a vegan diet. You really need to get in a bunch of different fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, fats. It's so important to do that. With fruits and vegetables, my rule of thumb and what I would teach my clients is the more colors that you can get, the more variety of vitamins and minerals you're going to have in your meal. So if you're having a salad, leafy greens are great, but add in some reds, add in some oranges, add in some, you add in carrots, you add in peppers of different colors. The different colors of fruits and vegetables that you get will help you diversify the nutrients that you're going to get from these fruits and vegetables. Now, that's the fruits and vegetables part. Now you need to look at things like beans and grains. Very important to get those in as well. Beans and rice is a great mix, but add in some vegetables to that and you are really getting a diversified meal there. Proteins are not hard to come by on a vegan diet. Plant-based proteins are pretty readily available as long, again, as you are getting a diverse variety of food. Now, if you're just eating fruit all day, then no, you're not going to get in enough protein, of course. You're not going to get in enough fat, which is the other really important factor. So many non-vegans are so hung up on where do you get your protein, but that's really not all that hard if you're getting in enough fruits and vegetables, grains and legumes, and also you're eating fats. It is also very easy to go to Whole Foods or any other health food store, even a normal grocery store nowadays, and get vegan protein patties that are in the form of, chicken nuggets or hamburgers or things like that. Yes, they're processed, but you will have an actual gram count of the protein. And when you're getting started on veganism and you may not know the protein that you're getting from mixing, certain legumes with grains and things like that, that's a good place to start. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So, it is not challenging to get protein on a vegan diet. Fats. Fats is another thing that you really need to change your mind frame on. I think a lot of us have been raised thinking that fats are bad for us. Some fats are, and in excess, yes, absolutely. But healthy fats from seeds and nuts and avocados and things like that are so important for your overall health. You cannot cut fats out on a vegan diet. You are going to not only be starving, but you're going to make your body completely unhealthy. You're going to lose your mental acuity, your hair, your skin, your eyes, everything is going to suffer if you don't get enough fat in your body. So again, reprogram your brain to think fats aren't bad, fats are good. So variety, think variety. Fruits and vegetables, get lots of colors in there every day. Legumes and grains, fats, proteins. you have to be diversified in what you eat in order to have a sustainable, healthy vegan lifestyle. Okay, number 3, not supplementing when necessary. I would love to say that we can get every single one of the nutrients that we need from plants. I would love to say that. And, you could, but you would have to eat a huge amount of certain things in order to get some of the necessary nutrients that we need to thrive physically. Specifically, B12. Now, B12 can be found in soil, it can be found in some plants, but you would literally have to gorge yourself in certain plants in order to get the amount of B12 that your body needs to stay healthy. B12 is very important. It can cause nervous system damage if you don't get enough. Now, B12 is kind of a touchy subject among vegans because, yes, like I said, I wish I could say that we can get everything from our plant-based diet. And some vegans say that our gut, like some animals, create B12 and can utilize it, and we don't need to get it from an outside source. There is a lot of scientific evidence to not support that. We do need B12 in our diet. And unless we're eating a bunch of soil and a bunch of plants that contain B12 in excess, we're not going to get the amount that we need. So supplementing B12 is very, very important. Very, very important. It is a very cheap and easy vitamin to get. It is very easily made without the use of animal products, so vegans can very easily get their hands on a B12 supplement and it not be produced from an animal product. It's also water soluble, so you really can't overdo it so much, but you really don't need very much of it either. So it's just a very simple vitamin to supplement, and I highly recommend, if you are vegan or if you're planning on going vegan, just get a B12 supplement. Nervous system damage, you don't want to mess with that. Absolutely not. There are lots of vegan foods that are already fortified with B12. So you can buy non-dairy milks, cereals, nutritional yeast a lot of times is fortified with it. It would probably be very, very challenging to not get B12 in your diet with all of the vegan foods that are fortified with it. However, if you are more on the raw side and are eating a lot more fruits and vegetables and not really eating any more processed vegan foods, then you may not be getting enough B12. So it's always good to err on the side of caution and make sure that you do supplement and get enough, so that you don't suffer from any of the horrible repercussions that come from being B12 deficient. The next one is omegas. Now, these are very healthy fats. It is a little bit more challenging to get omega-3s in your diet, and there are ways to do it as a vegan, but you kind of have to consciously work at getting the omegas in your diet. Now, there is omega-3 and omega-6. And omega-6 is a little bit more prevalent and easy to get into your diet. Omega-3s are a little bit more challenging as a vegan, and you want to make sure that you get enough omega-3s to balance out the omega-6s. If you have too much omega-6, it can actually hurt your health and leave you more susceptible to diseases. So focusing on trying to get those omega-3s in is very important. Now, you can easily get those into your diet without the use of fish oils and eating salmon and things of that nature. Chia seeds, hemp seeds, walnuts, algae. You can even buy algae supplements of omegas, and they are kind of skipping the fish, so you're actually going straight to the source, what the fish eat, and getting kind of this purified form of omegas instead of actually eating the fish themselves. So there are a lot of ways. Brussels sprouts even have them. So it is pretty easy to get omega-3s, but you do have to consciously make an effort at trying to get those into your diet. It's very important fats for your body. And protein. We've talked about protein. It is not hard to get plant-based protein. Protein is pretty prevalent in a lot of plant-based food. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but a lot of people going vegan think that they can only eat fruits and vegetables, and they're not including a lot of grains and beans and fats, and so they're not getting the protein that they need by having a diversified diet. So if you're just starting off and you want to make sure you're getting enough protein, please go look at the freezer section at Whole Foods and get veggie patties that are packed with protein. Or, even better yet, and I'm not getting paid for this and being sponsored by Garden of Life, but Garden of Life raw meal is what our family has every breakfast. I mix a whole bunch of fruits and vegetables in with the Garden of Life raw meal protein powder, and it is so much more than just a protein powder. I mean, it's packed with so many vitamins and minerals and fruits and vegetables dehydrated in there, and it really is amazing. But that way I know that we all start off the day with a really good variety of fruits and vegetables that are all blended together, bioavailable, ready for our bodies to just consume first thing in the morning, along with all of that protein that's in there as well. So, make it easy on yourself, especially if you're just transitioning into being a vegan. That leads me beautifully into the next one, which is not transitioning in a sustainable way. When I used to meet with people at Whole Foods and come up with a meal plan for them to transition into veganism in a sustainable way, I would ask them first, what are your comfort foods? What are the things that you most love eating? 9 out of 10 people would say a cheese-based product. People love cheese. When I first started out being vegan, there was one kind of cheese. It was a soy cheese that was an alternative to normal dairy-based cheese, and it was awful. It didn't melt. It had this horrible consistency, and I never, ever touched it. It was just awful. Now, oh my gosh, there are so many alternatives to cheese out there, from cheese made from soy that they've gone leaps and bounds with, to nut cheeses, to, I'm talking, you can't really tell the difference. If cheese is your thing, they even have gourmet vegan cheeses out there, like brie substitutes, and every flavor of cheese. I just bought a block of vegan Gouda cheese the other day that was incredible by Follow Your Heart. Daiya is a great cheese that comes shredded that you make pizza with or put in your pasta. There is a cheese in every flavor, for every occasion, for every meal, that is now vegan. Some people say hamburgers, they can't live without it. Well, now there is a brand called Beyond Meat that I personally don't like at all because it is too similar to meat. But a lot of people that eat meat, my father for one, he loves hamburgers, but he will eat Beyond Meat burgers because they're a healthy alternative to a hamburger, and he really says they taste almost identical. So if you need transitionary food, whether you're starting out and you're trying to keep on and sustain this vegan diet by still having some of the foods that you really love and would miss terribly, there is a vegan alternative for it. And that's what I would do when I walk people through health food stores to transition them to a vegan diet, is I would find what foods they love the most, and then I would try to replace that with a vegan alternative. And then they can slowly start adding more whole foods into their diet so that they become a more well-rounded and diversified vegan and don't rely necessarily on these already made foods. They can use those as a stepping stone or just whenever they want it. My husband and I last night, we went and got the vegan Boca burgers and made a loaded burger for dinner last night, and I didn't feel like cooking, so that was great. I've been vegan for over 12 years, and I love finding these, processed but healthy vegan alternatives out there. Utilize them. Enjoy them. Don't rely on them, but they're there for you to help stay on this plant-based lifestyle. And the last point I want to make is intuitively and intelligently eating and listening to your body. I say intuitive and intelligently because a lot of times if you are craving meat, say you're craving a steak, you may just be craving the iron in that steak. You're not actually craving the steak, but your brain is programmed, iron, steak, to link those two. So be intuitive with your body. If you are craving something like a steak, think, okay, well, maybe I'm not getting enough iron. Use your intelligence to figure out what's actually in that steak that you might be missing. You can find that in a plant-based source. So maybe up your spinach that night and see if that helps curb your craving for a steak because you were just really craving the iron. That goes for people. I've had people say, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I have this uncontrollable need for milk chocolate. I don't know why, but I do. Well, a lot of times that's a magnesium deficiency. So then you want to look at foods that are high in magnesium. You can get some almonds or tofu or things like that, or even supplement if you need to until you learn what foods that are higher in magnesium. This, again, goes back to the diversity of foods. If you have a wide diversity of plant-based foods, then you're going to have less of a chance of being deficient in one area. If you are craving something meaty, my first suggestion is to sit down and try to ascertain what vitamin, mineral, what nutrient in there you may be missing in your vegan diet. If it is a comfort food, like you're craving macaroni and cheese, well, there's nothing wrong with either making your own macaroni and cheese with vegan Daya cheese and coconut milk, which I do often, or I know that there's a bunch of vegan macaroni and cheese out on the market as well that you can make just out of a box like you would Kraft macaroni and cheese. So being intuitive with your body, finding out what it is that you're craving and why, and then making an intelligent choice on whether it is because you are lacking that nutrient and you need to replace it with a plant-based nutrient, or if it's just a comfort food that you're missing and you can creatively replace it with something that is also plant-based. We're living in a time now where pretty much everything that you could want that has been a meat or a dairy product is available at just a normal grocery store as a vegan alternative. And I can say with a lot of confidence, now this is from someone who has always been vegetarian, and but from the meat eaters that I have known in my life and who have tried these plant-based alternatives have told me that they're pretty close. They're pretty close in taste and texture. I hope this helps a little bit because I would hate to see a bunch of very gung-ho people who want to sustain a vegan lifestyle make these common mistakes and jump out of this lifestyle because they don't know why they're not feeling optimal. Generally, these are the 5 mistakes that they're making that derail them from the vegan lifestyle. So if you are planning on going vegan, or you are vegan and maybe you're having a little bit of trouble, maybe go through these 5 points and see if you could do something different that would help you feel better. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will be making some more videos in the future on transitioning into a plant-based lifestyle, as well as creating that lifestyle that is sustainable. So thank you so much for your time, and until next time, be well.